I'm here with Andy and Linda Enrico to talk a little bit about their experiences with managing their own rental properties. Andy, how long have you been doing this kind of work? When did you get your first rental property?
Well, probably about 30 years ago.
How many do you have right now?
We have 5.
Are they all single-family houses?
They're all single-family houses.
And are they all in the same kind of general area, or are they spread out?
No, they're spread out. They're in different parts. We've got them in southeast Boise, the Boise Bench, southwest Boise,
and West Boise.
and west Boise.
Great. How did you decide to start investing in rental property?
Well, my first broker told me that how you make money in real estate is buying real estate. And that's what we did. You don't make money selling real estate, you make money buying real estate.
And you sell real estate. You and Linda both have a real estate license.
Right.
And you've been a broker for years.
Right.
And you've actually been a real estate commissioner too, as I recall.
As I recall, I have.
Now, tell me again, you have 5 properties, did you tell me?
Yes,
And they're all single family.
all single family.
About how big are they? Are they all about the same size, or?
You know, the reason we pick single-family residents is because you'll always be financing available for single-family residents. And so we wanted to make sure, because if the market's changed in financing, that in fact, there would always be finance available, and single-family houses will always have financing available to it. And so that's why we picked them. And we looked at an average home for a first-time home buyer would buy. So that's how we picked them.
Great. And what made you decide to buy these specific properties?
Well, we just said, when we looked at these different properties, would we live in them ourselves if we had to? And we said, yes, we would.
Great.
See, in the first couple that we bought were in the days that you could assume a mortgage.
Oh.
And so the first 2,
We assumed there
we
was.
assumed the mortgages. So because of that financing, that also influenced the buys on those.
Great. And you can't do that anymore, I don't
No,
think.
no.
A few exceptions, perhaps. Linda, I'm going to guess that you do most of the books and the paperwork for these properties.
Yes, I do.
What does a typical day look like for you?
Well, because we have just the 5, and we just really form relationships with our tenants, and so generally they're quite long-term tenants. So days and days and days can go by that I don't even think about the rentals. So I might get a call about a repair, and we take care of that. At the first of the month, as the rental checks come in, I have a little bit of banking to do. But with having ours as long as we've had them, and having maintenance people that we call, we don't do our own repairs. Some days, like I said, I don't even have to think about it. Other times, when we have something turning over, then those days are busy because we're very picky on how they look to turn them over and re-rent them. And so there's a lot of cleaning and perhaps some repair, perhaps some paint. Those days can be busy.
You said you have some long-term tenants. What's the longest time that you've had a tenant?
A little over 10 years. We had a young couple in a 2-bedroom. No, it was 3-bedroom?
3-bedroom.
But a townhouse type situation, and they were there a little over 10 years.
Wow, 10 years. How did you in the world did you get them to stay for 10 years?
They liked it. And like I said, we do form good relationships with our tenants, which helps them to be long-term.
And if there's any kind of a repair, we get it done immediately. We don't wait. We hire somebody to come. We don't wait and do it ourselves. We hire it. So if there's a repair it needs, and they call and they say something broke, we get somebody out there immediately.
What would you say is your biggest challenge in the rental investment market?
I think the biggest challenge is when we do have a turnover in qualifying a new person, and just making sure that they are and will be good renters. We check credit reports, we check references. That's always a little bit of a process, and when they're your own places, I think you look at it a little differently than if you were property managing somebody else's property. I feel very personal about them because it's a large investment that we've put into, and I want them taken care of, and so I want to make sure we get the right people in there, so we do qualify them quite well. And I think that's the most challenging part, is putting somebody in there, not the day-to-day or the month-to-month after they're there.
It's finding the right person that you would trust to be in your property.
Yes.
What do you like best about owning rental properties?
Watching them appreciate and value.
It's been a good investment for you then to have these.
Excellent.
I would take it.
Excellent.
Very
Excellent.
good. If you could give one piece of advice to the class, what would that be? Somebody, if they're thinking about going into investing or working for someone else as a property manager.
Oh, boy.
By working for somebody else as a property manager, that's a hard question, because we're in such a different spot managing our own.
So I have to tell you, I'm working as a real estate agent. I work with a lot of people that work for property management companies, and some of them aren't as thorough as they should be, and they probably need to pay more attention to the details of their rentals.
So being detail-oriented would be a good characteristic.
Very good characteristic.
Very good. And how about for somebody who's wanting to get started in investing in their own property? What would you recommend?
You know, here's what we recommend normally when we talk to people. We get asked that a lot. Don't do it when you're young. You know, it's not your first house. Don't buy your first house to be a rental. Buy your first house to live in, and then after you've got yourself situated and get a little bit down a road a ways, then think about buying an investment property. But too often people think the first house they have to buy is going to be a rental. That's why they're buying it. It becomes a rental, and that may not always be the best decision.
Thank you so much for taking time to come and chat with us today.
Thank you for having us.